Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I'm playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. 716 make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home, the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
Somebody hit a chord at the end there.
They was trying to come back.
Hey,
The music was trying to come back in.
don't call it a comeback. 4 keys. What's happening, y'all?
Producer in the building. Popping.
The AO producer in the hit house. What's going on? All right. Look, we got a lot of stuff to get to in this episode and not a lot of time to do it. So I want to get started as quickly as possible. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who is with us right now. You're about to be rewarded for your patience and waiting that extra minute. Look,
Fair enough.
Right? You got to give them something. So here's the deal. For today's show, we got some stuff on defensive ends. We're gonna go through my personal top 5 defensive end fits for the Bills. Guys,
I got like 18 of them, so it's fine.
Oh, well, see,
that's why you go first all the time.
You give the field, I give what I think the Bills might do, or fits what they do best. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I got too.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
18? 18 guys that fit what the Bills do?
18. I got undrafted guys on my board though.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I got
way
stuff.
too far.
I'm not gonna go through all the 18. Sorry guys, you don't. That's premium. That's my Patreon. You gotta go over there for that.
Yep.
Or should I say OnlyFans? Never mind then. So
aside from that, we got some interesting stuff on the draft. The announcement came out for who's gonna announce the Buffalo Bills draft pick in the second round.
Okay.
And he may do both. But I wanted to talk about that. We obviously have the Tre White news to get to, which you might not be happy with me after I give you my my thoughts on that move. But
me?
Yeah.
I don't know what do you take me for?
No, okay. I mean, I think I like to think I know you well enough to know whether or not you're gonna like, what I do or don't do. But we'll see. We'll leave it up in the air, right? We'll figure it out.
Wait.
All right, so let's get started. I mean, obviously the biggest news to start with is the Tre White signing.
Ooh, you cut into the chase.
Yeah, let's just get right to it, man. Let's get right to it. Don't even beat the bush at all. All right. I think the Tre White signing was, to be honest, I think it was necessary. I think the Bills did something that didn't seem that smart. And I know I poo-pooed the idea of signing this guy back. But now that it's done, I had to analyze it and I had to think about what the heck could the Bills have been thinking when they made this move, right? And so the conclusion I came to is, if the goal is to get a young up-and-coming corner in the building and give him time to develop the way that they wanted to give Elam time to develop. See, the issue with Elam was Tre'Davious White was hurt all over the place. He wasn't the same player. Benford wasn't Benford yet. So we were putting pressure on Elam to come in and be the next Tre White because we were so used to having a #1 corner that we could count on. And that void wasn't filled right away by Christian Benford, right? So I think having Tre White here, having a guy that fills in that rando CB2 role that they just throw anybody into.
Dane Jackson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tre White, even still right now, is probably a better option than Dane Jackson. And that's pretty bad. That's actually very bad. The fact that Tre White was injured to the degree that he was twice, battled back to be almost as good as Rasul Douglas, but slightly worse. It doesn't look good until you look at what the Bills have had in that CB2 spot for years. And you realize EJ Gaines, Levi Wallace, Josh Norman, all these other names that you can go through are guys that came into that CB2 spot and we thought were, pretty much players that you're just taking a flyer on. But they come in and they don't get killed. And I think Tre'Davious White is one of those guys where he probably won't get killed as the CB2. And having that safe option there is something that I think we're just used to. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be any better than it was before, but we're just used to having a guy. And I think at this point in his career, Tre'Davious White is a guy. Now, the benefit of having Tre'Davious White in that spot is you get that added benefit of somebody who has had the career that he has. And let's say, for instance, they do draft a Siobhan Revelle Jr., who's dealing with building back from an ACL injury. Well, Tre White's been through it twice.
Can I build on that?
Go ahead.
Better draft Siobhan Revelle.
Right.
Better at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're bringing Tre White back, this definitely frees you up to draft a corner in the first or second round, I guess. First or second round, but if you're going Revelle, I'm not waiting until the end of the second round, which is where the Bills are drafting.
No, you Revelle. It depends on a couple of things. I mean, I have a theory of what they should do in the draft. Obviously, I've said it a couple of times where I think you should trade back into the second round, get you a third round draft pick, anywhere between 33 and 38 to 40 maybe. And honestly, I'm not married to Revelle. It could be Darian Porter, who just became a cornerback, who has all the traits to be a cornerback in this league, but you got to wait a little while. So just to add on to emphasize what you already said, better be one of those guys. I don't want a safe guy in a draft that they take because this is the guy that we know won't mess. I don't care about none of that. You got to swing for the fences. And before you go on further, Tommy, what's good with you, brother? And there's only one comment in here. I got a problem with that. We got one comment.
I mean, it is a Friday.
We got 236 folks in here. Say what's up to us.
I mean, can we get 236 likes? That would be nice.
Do you guys need me to hunt them down for you?
That'd be insane. No, I don't hunt them down. I mean, this is family.
Okay,
we gotta be nice to these people.
Yeah, we just gotta hold off on that.
You're right. My bad, folks. My bad.
Jesus, Mary and JoJo.
Ayo producer is ready to go loco.
The aggressive producer.
Listen.
Jesus, Mary
why is it one view?
Huh?
Okay, I'm trying to help out because there shouldn't be one view on there. There should be more than that.
When I see that number go down, I'm like, oh, eggs, no.
You can't.
You scared them.
People don't like it when you rule with an iron fist. They like a softer approach, man. I mean,
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
You gotta finesse it. You gotta massage some backs and scratch some backs and stuff like that.
I don't know about that one, but okay.
That's tough. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean that's what I think the most positive draw from the Tre White signing is. You get a guy who comes right in, already familiar with the defense. No learning curve, no nothing. He steps right in. He fills in that CB2 spot. Benford has got a guy he's familiar playing with. Your safeties, I think Taylor Rapp played with Tre White. Hamlin played with Tre White. But I don't think the other two safeties that we have currently on the roster have played with Tre White. Having two corners like that understand the defense to the degree that they do and play in zone coverage as well as they do, I think helps the safeties, to be perfectly honest. Because realistically, at this point in both their careers, Benford and Tre White could be pretty good safeties. So I think that's another added benefit on top of the assistance to whatever corner is coming in. That corner is going to have two pretty good, CB1s and CB2s to really sit and learn from without the pressure of needing somebody to step in right away. Now, the win for the Bills is if they draft a Siobhan Revelle or whoever they draft in the first or second round, and that guy comes in and beats Tre White for the CB2 spot, well, the Bills look even better, don't they? I mean, what better way to kind of get the monkey off your back of Kaiir Elam and the failure there and some of the other failures of the first and second round picks, than to have the corner you draft come in and beat Tre White for a spot. I mean, that is from a realistic standpoint, it's not a lot right now, just because of where Tre White is after 2 injuries. But it is in the grand scheme of team perception, public perception. You got a corner that came in and beat out your CB2, whoever it is, for a starting spot, which is what Sean wants. He wants guys to earn their spots. So, okay, here you have it.
Okay, so I like watching you try to put a positive spin on everything. It's beautiful. So get ready for Tre White to be your number 2 cornerback until he gets hurt. If he gets hurt, that's just how it's going to work. Tre White re-signing with the team allows him to take somebody and sit him on the bench of the project, because Tre White they're familiar with, and they've shown over and over again that they go with familiarity over everything else all the time. So Tre White is going to be the CB2. Only person that could beat him out, and you're going to laugh, is Dane Jackson. That's the only guy that's going to be able to beat Tre White out until he gets hurt, if he does. So what you subscribe to is
so you don't think they're going to allow a rookie to beat him out?
No, they're not, because they got the veteran guy, former captain, what was he? All Pro, former Pro Bowler, defensive rookie of the year, 2nd place.
Yeah,
under McDermott and Bean. No, they brought him in with a very specific reason, and more so than anything. When it comes to Tre White, I'm not worried about him being on the team. It doesn't move my needle at all. Tre White is a 30-year-old guy that still has years to play if his body holds up, but it doesn't need to be in Buffalo. I'm tired of revisioning this history, going back with familiarity. It didn't work out. We can move on. It's really the most Billsiest, happiest day of Buffalo right now, because people don't rejoice for his play on the field. They don't rejoice for the fact that he's going to be the undisputed cornerback too. Yes, he is undisputed. Could you hear people say he's brought in as a Micah Hyde? No. Not unless his body breaks down. If his body breaks down, then he will be the coach. But he's not coming in as a 30-year-old that signed for $6.8 million to be a backup. They wouldn't have signed him with the intent at $7 million. I don't care what the contract is. They wouldn't have signed him for that number with the possibility of making that number if they didn't have an intent on him playing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So anybody that says that he's brought in as a coach role, the ancillary piece to develop.
No, right now he's CB2.
He's CB2.
Yeah.
And furthermore, what I heard was, X and all this stuff, they're excited. They're over the moon because they can bring out their Tre White jerseys again. Thank God. I saw.
Well, maybe he might not even wear 27.
Well, people will want to start a petition about that. They say that whoever's got
his number back.
I've seen this. Whoever's got 27 need to get up off of that, because Tre White's 20. He's back. This is what we're talking about. This is what the Tre White bring back is. This is another distraction. I'm going to sound like you because you were too positive. Another distraction for if stuff goes awry.
Yeah.
At least we gave you Tre White back. Somebody to cheer for when he runs out that. What do you think is going to happen when he runs out of that tunnel? They're going to introduce the defense first on purpose because Tre White's there.
That's true.
The cloud that's going to erupt. It doesn't matter what happens. It's going to erupt because Tre White is on the scene. When I was at the Baltimore game last year, that was the second best game of the year. In Buffalo in the playoffs. That we know how that went.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's and furthermore, you know what else I hate about this? $6.8 million. Why aren't we freaking out about that?
I mean, the Bills only have what, $4 million in cap space right now?
But what do they say when they talk about his contract? Rory kind of hit on it. Waiting for the contract details. What does that tell you? Up to 6.8.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it when we're talking about Tre White, it's up to, but we're not going to pay? It's incentive based. But when we talk about somebody else,
it's $15 million
or nothing.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yep.
Can we get consistent here? That's my.
Yeah.
Can we be consistent? I'm not going to turn this to anybody that wants to turn this into a James Cook show. It's not going to happen. But my point is, be consistent. Are we talking about percentage of salary cap? We talking about incentives? We talking about guaranteed money? We talking about cash?
Yeah.
You tell me what you want to talk about, and we'll do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna talk about for this player is this, for that player is this, for this player is that. Because right now, when you talk about what have you done for me lately, team, who's more important, James Cook or Tre White?
Yeah.
So let's pause on that because this is nostalgia already. That's what this is, and it doesn't bother me that Tre White is back. It just bothers me what it represents.
Right.
So I mean, he's here on a regular team. He'd be fighting for a spot. You know, he wouldn't be getting the Keon Coleman. He's the X receiver. He wouldn't get the CB2. If you took, you take James Bradbury back to New York, the New York Giants, they're going to be like, he's on the team fighting for the spot. He might not get a roster spot. I'm just saying that it's New York because that's where he came from to go to Philly. Then he went back. Anybody that goes back to a team, you don't just earn your team. You don't just get your spot back. You don't leave, get cut, go to another team, get your spot. That doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But why here? That's the thing that bothers me about this. So no, I'm not,
because it's a family here.
That's it. And that's the culture. That's the thing that they do. And I don't shun people for being happy he's back. I don't shun people for applauding this move.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Beane. How hard was it for Tre White to come back to Buffalo? I mean, I'm sure
there was nowhere else he could go, honestly.
That or he likes Buffalo. He likes Buffalo.
I would like Buffalo too if I was 30 years old and had 2 ACL injuries and nobody would hire me. I'd love Buffalo at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's a destination, but they drafted him. He's got that culture thing to him.
Yeah,
he's got that loyalty to him. It was an easy sign.
And this is the tough part because when you're raised from your NFL birth up to he was here for what 7 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. He was here for seven years. 8 years. I'm sorry.
No, he was 7 years.
7 years.
Yep.
Okay. So he was raised for 7 years in this culture. His whole entire life in the NFL has been Buffalo Bills culture. He spent 1 season away from us, and now he comes back. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think you're used to living and thinking and being a certain way, and once you leave out of that and go somewhere else, you either get into a situation that you like better or it doesn't feel the same as what you left, and so now you have a desire to go back. So I think
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I mean it sounds cultish, doesn't it?
That's what I mean, and it's fine if you like someplace that I like to think everybody likes Buffalo that much, but we know the truth. The wings ain't hitting like that. The beef on wick ain't hitting like that. The Loganberry ain't that succulent, but
succulent. That's what he.
I know he just. I heard because I was like,
so instead of ALs, we just gonna hear a little giggle in the background now. That's
with all his might, he's fighting it.
Yeah, succulent is crazy.
But I mean, when you talk about Tre White, you talk about guys that come back. They're not coming back off MVP like seasons. They're not coming back off of major contribution seasons. There's a reason why Baltimore didn't re-up with him. There's a reason why the Rams let him play for 4 games, and they said, you know what? Nah. I mean, there's a reason for it, and that's not a knock on Tre White. Obviously he doesn't know about us because we weren't on when he. Yeah, you were. Yeah, we were. We weren't on when he left, but he wasn't really doing anything but rehabbing. So, I mean, the thing is, when you're talking about these kind of situations, you have to look at both sides. You can be happy, but also look at what it means for the team on the field. What is it standing in the way of? Laura was good.
Laura says, "What up, PPP? I adore Tre White, but to me, this is like a fail-safe move. We'll see what they do with the draft."
I could, like we said, I think, now you're looking at a team that can say, we'll do Porter, we'll do Morrison, the guy from Notre Dame that tore the ACL, we'll do Ravel because we have this guy, and if he doesn't work, we have that guy. There's a reason why Bradbury came in and said, because you realize he came in for his visit, no news. And as soon as, that day ended, who did we sign? Somebody that we didn't even know was here.
Yeah.
Sign somebody that they know, but we didn't know he was even here or thinking about coming back. Somebody speculated. I saw, what's up, Sonny Son? But, it reeks of, we have this in our back pocket. Bean always says, we always have our ear to the streets. We make calls. We talk to agents. We keep good relationships. Yeah, we know. But you know who to do that with.
Right. As of this moment, the Bills still have 5.2 million, 5.3, just about, if you round up, $5.3 million in cap space. So we don't know what this Tre White contract is doing to the salary cap space, but to be perfectly honest, I mean, I don't know if you heard Sal Capaccio this morning talking about the incentives that get laid out that don't count towards the salary cap.
Yes, the not likely.
The not likely stuff. Yeah. I thought that was kind of an interesting concept in general for a team. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of that's going to lead me into the next part of this conversation that I want to have. But to just get through this point first, when you're looking at Tre White's contract, potentially being a max of 6.8 million. I mean, one of the things that made Tre White quite possibly more attractive than someone who was rated higher than him in Rasul Douglas is the money, right? And people are saying, oh, well, you got Tre White for less money than what you would have had to pay Rasul Douglas. Well, I thought this was funny how this kind of got spun, right? Because everybody's looking at this 6.8 million and they're saying exactly what you said from the standpoint of, it's going to be incentive laden. It's not going to be a lot of guaranteed money. And you get that guy who knows your defense and there's comfort level with him and blah, 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 blah. Cool. Right. But then when you factor in, we still got to pay him $4 million in dead cap money that he's owed from 2 years ago. So it's not just whatever the guaranteed money is this year plus the incentives that can possibly get him up to 6.8. He's making another 4 on top of that. So
Brian Miller 27. Yeah. Brian Miller 27.
Right. So realistically, we're looking at Tre White this season at a little over 10 if he maxes out his contract for 1 year. You know what I'm saying? So like that's it. And so that brings me to this conversation. And I think this is a big conversation to, in terms of what the NFL is really all about. And that's leverage. Right? Leverage is the biggest word in the NFL world, period, because the game itself is about leverage. When a quarterback walks up to the line of scrimmage, he's looking at the formation to see where his leverage is. What is the defense showing him in terms of where their leverage is? How many players are on this side of the field versus what I have on this side of the field? If I have more on this side of the field, I have better leverage. My play has a higher likelihood of working. That's all leverage, right? But then when you take that word and you put that into the business side of the game, it's all about a player's value to a team versus a player's overall value in the league amongst his peers, his performance level, his achievement or accomplished level compared to his peers. That gives a player leverage. If a player is not in that top echelon of achievement and performance in comparison to his peers, he loses what? Leverage in negotiation, in contract negotiations. So leverage is a very big deal when it comes to how the NFL operates, right? And when you look at where the Buffalo Bills were in terms of leverage, they do what a lot of teams don't do going into the draft, which is eliminate a drafted player's leverage from jump. Right? I was talking to Damaris about this, and I was very curious after our last episode when we were talking about players not being able to get the money that they deserve, and namely the James Cook conversation. And we talked about how they kept limiting his snaps, and they kept, the first 2 years of his career anyway, they didn't really give him an opportunity to be the RB1 or even show that he could be the RB1. He had to literally take it by the reins in year 3 and bust the door down just to get people to see that he can do it, right? And
you good. He's honestly clearing his throat.
Okay.
I
thought he said bust the door down.
No, that's not a pause. I was just clearing my.
Gotcha.
I appreciate that. All right. So when you look at what they did to James Cook early in his career, what they did is they created leverage for the end of his contract. Now, here's something interesting that Damaris told me about. And I didn't know this, and I'm pretty sure everybody listening didn't know this either. When a team, and players do this too with their agents, when agents and players and teams come to the negotiation table, they're thinking about 3 years from that day and how they're going to get out of the deal that they're about to sign. They don't think about what we think about which is, oh, well, how much can you get him for? What do you have to give him to get him here and get him in the building? See, we think about it from the beginning to the end. They think about it from the end up to the beginning, right? And so that's why a lot of these contracts are structured the way they are with the void years and all that kind of stuff. That's the teams thinking about they're out of the contract if things don't work out. Now, whether you see that as a positive or a negative, that all deals with leverage. And the way that a player can maximize his leverage is to get on the field, perform well, and achieve much. If he can do that, the benefit or the leverage for him at the end of the contract is going to be much greater than what the team has.
And that's, like I said, not to get into James Cook, but the example is there. That's why I say when people say he doesn't play 40%, does James Cook pull himself off the field?
Right.
Does he say don't throw me the ball? No, when you look at what a player's value is, you got to look at, and I've tweeted this, I've said it on the show numerous times. You look at what they've done with the opportunities they've been presented with.
Yep.
And if you're telling me he hasn't maximized the opportunities he's had, okay, we'll talk about that. But then that goes with anybody across the board. This isn't basketball where you're going to get the ball pretty much every time up and down the court. This isn't where you can impact the game on both ends of the field. You get one shot. You got one play where there's one ball and there's one pass. There's a reason why they don't pass the ball 6-7 times down the field. It's one time. That means on any given play, two players are going to actually impact the game. Through the quarterback and whether he's going to hand it off or whether he's going to throw it. That's it. After that, there is no more.
Yeah. So Roy, to answer your comment here, he said this sounds like a conspiracy theory. Actually, it is not, because I've gotten this from my conversation with Damaris, who played in the NFL, and what actually happens is, and he confirmed it. Everything that we saw happen to Antonio Brown really happens to players. A team will directly and specifically say, we not paying him this. So if he needs less carries to not hit that number, then that's just what it is. Period. Yeah. And that happens. And that's a team's way of ensuring their own leverage at the end of a contract. Right. So this is confirmed. This is a confirmed report. This really happens in the NFL. And unfortunately, that's real life. That's the life of the game. Yeah. That's the behind the scenes stuff that we never get to find out about. Really quick, I wanted to address this one. I was going to do it, but you got it. Yeah. So Zuzu says, what happened to the other guy who used to be on? He got into an awkward disagreement with you on the show, and we never heard from him again. He was cool. So he's
in my basement.
I mean, we locked him up. I was just about to say that. No. Really though, seriously. He has a huge church obligation. Like he's heavily involved.
Full-time job. He's a super pops husband.
Yeah,
son,
but before he even came on the show, when we talked about him coming on the show, he already told us around this time of 2025 he was going to be super crazy busy with church obligations and in school and all that kind of stuff. So
he wasn't planning on doing off-season stuff anyway.
Yeah, so hopefully he's ready to or he has time, and he can come back on the show when the season starts or whenever.
He hasn't found cold brews yet.
Is that what it is?
That's what keeps me going. Cold brews.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody, bro. I really would
it's
not.
A way of life.
Well, yeah, because you can't live without it.
Really
it's literally rocket fuel that you pump into your body.
This week tore me to pieces. Ken being home, TV, it tore me to pieces, man. I couldn't get out and do my nut, man. When I tell y'all the zombie getting up all these, man, I can't wait. I'm not mad they air, but I'm mad I can't slide out and get what I need to get my day going. I tried a regular pot coffee, man. It tore me apart. Not because I was in the bathroom, but it didn't do anything. It tastes like garbage. It was trash.
Have you tried nitrous oxide?
Yes, I've tried. I've had that a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that stuff does it. Those energy drinks don't do anything for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura says, "Tell Mac we all said hello. I will text him right after the show.
I'll text him right now. Hey, he said hi.
Yeah.
Say hi back, Mac.
Yeah. So Roy says, so you think they intentionally limited Cook's playing time for his first 2 years, even though we already had an established running back on the roster? Correct me if I'm misunderstanding. I think they did that to both. And that's kind of my point. They already had an established running back on the roster. They really didn't need to get a secondary guy to come in and take snaps away from Devin Singletary. when Devin Singletary was brought in and given snaps. We already had LaShawn McCoy. Now, the year that Sean came in 2017, they didn't take McCoy off the field as much because his role had been he's the bell cow back. But once they got to 2018 and they kind of knew what they wanted to do in terms of controlling players' contracts.
And McCoy's is what you're talking about.
Huh?
McCoy's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly to the T, the third year thing. Oh, we're not going to play him at 19. We're going to draft this guy. Yep. You're on your way out. We'll get Frank Gore. Guess what?
Yeah. And so we all just kind of gave the finger to McCoy, even though he gave us some of the best running back years of our lives. And we latched on to Devin Singletary and we continued to.
Whoa. We didn't do jack. Tommy, no, okay.
Bills fans latched on to Devin Singletary and continue
he latched on to Devin
BS to support quite possibly the slowest running back in the NFL at that point. And then 2 years into his contract, they brought in James Cook. This is a process they've been showing you guys from day one.
Yeah.
Like you said, so this is it's not a conspiracy theory. This is confirmed information from people who have played in the NFL. I'm just telling you what was told to me. This happens, and it's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. If you don't,
it's okay, a business. Cool. See, the thing you got to realize is we're just now learning about void years because of COVID.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, you guys wouldn't know. I wouldn't know exactly what goes into a contract. They just publish it now because everybody's wondering, how do you get all this under this salary cap? How is this happening when you have no money? This is how we push everything down the line. You never heard about restructures and extensions and stuff like that. Yeah, we knew they did roster gymnastics, but to this degree, it's public now. It's a part of life.
Yep. And I think one of the good things about social media is you really can't hide much anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you do hide, you have to work really hard to hide it from social media. So, contract information, what's going on with a player, stuff like that. There's so much more behind the scenes information that comes out now that it's hard for teams to control in terms of the narrative. So I'll give you a prime example. I was talking to one of my sources about the Jalen Ramsey trade, right? Now, Jalen Ramsey actually asked the team for a trade the night before the report came out. Okay? Mm-hmm. Night before the report came out, Jalen Ramsey asked for the trade. In the morning, when the Dolphins put out the information, or I think it was Ian Rappaport that put it out, or one of those guys.
Schefter.
Yeah, it's one of those insider guys.
Of course.
The report that was put out was the Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey both agree to part ways. Mm-hmm. That's the way that it was worded. Mm-hmm. But that's not the way that it happened the night before, right? So the entire name of the game for these NFL teams is saving face, maintaining leverage. Yep. If I want this player to have value, I can't let other teams know that he wants to leave me and I don't really want him to leave. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, okay, we agreed to part ways, but we're not retaining any of that $21 million that he's owed. The only amount we're obligated to pay out of that is $4 million.
Right.
So the rest of the 21, whoever wants them, come get them, but you taking the 21 with you. Mm-hmm. Right? So all I'm trying to point out by saying all this is just because we see a report, it doesn't mean that's what actually happened. Mm-mm. And just because a team puts out information, it doesn't mean that's what actually happened.
That's rule number one of broadcasting. I mean, that day one in college, broadcast 101.
Like I'll give it to you like this, and this was actually told to me. This is how the insider game works, mm-hmm. right? The insider will go to a team and say, "Look, I'll put out the report exactly how you want me to word it. What do you want me to say?" And the team will say, "I want you to say this, and this exactly like this," and that insider will put out the report. And guess what? From that point on, there's a relationship developed because the team knows I can just go to this insider, give him the report, and he'll put it out, and that'll make me look good. Now I can control my narrative mm-hmm. I can control my perception through that insider. That's the real job that these guys do. They develop these relationships by opening themselves up to be interpreters for teams. And that's not to diminish what they do, because that takes a lot of work, building that relationship, building that trust and all that kind of stuff. You gotta know people, right? For a team to trust you like that. Mm-hmm. But that's what the job is. That's what they do. They talk to people, they get information, but they have to put it out the exact way it's told to them. This isn't them doing real journalism and fact checking all this stuff. They get told what to say.
Right.
Now, this is stuff that was confirmed to me from people who know what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. This isn't, you know what I'm saying? This isn't some random opinion or anything. But
you got to look at our own Buffalo media. You know, you look at the transition. I'll use Sal Capaccio for this if he's watching. Sorry, Sal. But I do respect you. I always respect you. So I'll just say it like it is. Before he was a sideline reporter, Sal was an Uber.
He used
fan.
To bang on the Bills a lot.
He banged on the Bills,
yes.
But he was also high on the Bills. He had his own narrative. He had his own ideas. Now that he's a sideline reporter, now he's an employee of the Bills.
Yep.
Now he defends tooth and nail everything they said. He's not us no more.
Yep.
You know, Joe Buscaglia, he was like that. But the thing about Joe Buscaglia, which I just found out, was he's not even really a Bills fan or like that.
Oh, snap.
So
how did you find that out?
Somebody said it.
Really?
Yeah, somebody said he's not really even a Bills fan. He's a journalist more than anything.
Wow.
So he'll follow him, but he's not invested. Like Sal is.
That's why he didn't want to take that job, because he probably could have had Sal's job.
Yeah, he had Sal's job and left it to go to Channel 7.
Yeah,
and that's how Sal got it, because Sal was just a try hard wannabe.
Wow.
And that was fine, because that's why we all that listen to GR all the time wanted Sal so bad on the radio, because he was us.
Yep.
He loved the team like us. He sounded like us. He was different than the morning crew. He was different than Children Bulldog.
That's right.
And now the paradigm shifts, and now he's arguing for the Bills to the guys that we were like, we're tired of these guys. So I mean, who wanted to listen to John Murphy? You know, I couldn't stand listening to that show.
I couldn't do it either.
Like, I'll listen to One Bills Drive now. I'm getting back into it because I'm in the gym and it's on the big screen, and I have it on my hip, because Tasker and Brown sometimes do get into it about certain things, and I'm like, okay, I like that perspective, even though it's not shunning the Bills, it's not shunning the front office, it's saying, I still don't like it. Yep. And I'm with that. But you give Tasker what he calls a couple of dad pops and a cigar, and he'll say whatever he wants. So and that's the thing about like you said about the media. I don't know if if anybody that's been in broadcasting school. I actually did go to school for a while for broadcasting. There's a meme.
No wonder you're so good at this.
There's a meme where there's a TV, right? And you see a guy on the screen doing like this, and you see another guy you see a knife. But if you look, what they do is they zoom out of the TV and you see the whole screen. The guy is just standing there like this, and the knife is actually the back of somebody's foot. What it means is TV is making you see what they want you to see. To your point, the teams are making you see what they want you. And I've been saying this all the time. Stop listening to everything they say, because this is team speak. Yep. You're regurgitating stuff they want you to say. So now you argue with us, who don't want to argue with you about stuff that we've heard. We just don't buy into it, because we know what they said. We believed everything they said and went along with everything. This show wouldn't exist.
Right.
We would be like everybody else, and you guys would not watch. You wouldn't appreciate. Even when you don't agree with us, you wouldn't appreciate it.
I'm gonna tell you, the only difference between us on this show and Channel 7 is Channel 7, like the actual station. Like we don't have a whole full-blown broadcast station,
right?
But we do the same amount of research and work that they do. We have sources just like they do. They just have a bigger foundation, a bigger pool of money to work with. That's it.
We don't have writers. We do all our own stuff. We got our own jobs.
But we're also not bound by the politics of a news station.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's why podcasting is so great.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
A couple comments. Let's see who don't want to go. Okay, Sunny Sun Bryant. I think there was one above it, but we'll stay there for now. Go up a little bit.
Let me see here.
Here we go. Okay. Okay, we'll start with Derek. Derek Cunningham. Am I the only one that loves Nick Scorton for Buffalo?
He's on my list.
Well, he's one of my 18 as well. I covered
oh my God.
The thing and this is what how I said Landon Jackson reminds me of Rousseau.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of Epinesa. That's who he reminds me of.
Nick Scorton?
Yes. You know why? Because at Purdue, he played at 280 something. But then when he went to Texas A&M, he was playing at like 255. He can't find a weight to play at. Actually, I think it's the reverse. He was more of a 255 player than he is at 280. He just bulked him up. And so if you look at his 23 tape, it's a completely different player than what you see in 24. So
Texas A&M, he was how heavy?
He was like 275, 280.
Man, he moves good for 275.
Well, the thing is, he's used to playing 255.
Yeah.
So what is his natural weight? If he's going to come in at 280, cool. For the Bills, and that's the thing about when you see my list, you're going to see a trend.
Okay.
You're going to see because like I said, 18 people, and
you might see, because a lot of maybe not so much on mine.
It's
maybe
not so much. It's probably the same trend, but you just don't realize it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we have. Roy always poking the bear. A bit off subject. Imagine we draft Kyle Williams and he has a great career in Buffalo. Then you can have 2 Kyle Williams on the Wall of Fame. Would Key lose his mind? There's not a Wall of Fame in the next stadium. No. No, I it wouldn't bother me.
Nice mini rant from Key. That was nice.
It wouldn't bother me in the least if Kyle Williams is drafted by the Bills and Kyle Williams is already in the Wall of Fame and Kyle Williams, a wide receiver, wears number 95. I couldn't care less. It's fine.
The day a receiver comes in and puts 9.5 on his chest, bro, I'm hanging it up.
I had to live through Dennis Rodman wearing 73 and 91, so anything's possible.
That's true. But only Rodman could do something like that and get away with it too.
Nobody questions the thing.
Right. D says NFL does things on purpose not to pay players. Dallas didn't play Cooper Rush in the last game of the season, so he wouldn't get his bonus, and played Trey Lance, who haven't played since he got to Dallas. That's a good point. That's a great point. Cato, what's going on? Says I can't stand Sal, dude, a D rider to the fullest. You know what? Screw it. I agree. I mean, look. He wanted the opportunity to be the Buffalo Bills beat reporter to the degree that he is, because he enjoys being a part of that world, and more power to him. He's living his dream. Cool. But I've never been the type of person to let a job just change me like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, if I'm in your employ, I'm going into the job saying, okay, and I've said this to networks that we've been on before. Is there any conflict with the way that we do our show and your network? They'll say no.
And they mean it.
Right. But then everybody else on the net, they want to argue with you, So, okay, all right, look, if I'm rubbing people the wrong way, maybe we just need to do our
we talking like we Howard Stern, dude.
I'm just saying.
Who's robbing? We need Beetlejuice. We need to, okay. Podcast junkie. I 100% agree with that. I think the smart thing to do would be to trade back early 30s to get yourself. I don't subscribe to that 5th-year contract. I really don't. Sometimes it works out, but it's not something I got to live and die by. The same way Buffalo gets all hot and bothered about the compensatory picks. It's fine, but if it makes more sense to get out of it and do something, pivot other, I'm not going to argue about it. Right. That's a lot of things. You didn't give Keon Coleman. Who cares? Because now, if he's good, you pay him. If he's not, you don't.
Yeah, pretty simple. Roy says Sal advanced his career by being a rah-rah guy. Money talks more to others than some.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I have a number, but if somebody hit that number, I might switch up.
I would try. I
might switch up.
I don't know if I would try.
I don't know what $1 billion would do to me. I don't know. I'm joking.
No, I would try. The thing about it, the thing that drives me nuts about Sal, and if you're watching, this is the only thing that really drives me nuts. It's the fact that he always has to tell you. If you notice when somebody asks a question, I wrote about it in my car. I don't want to read your article. Tell me what you said.
Exactly.
I was on a plane last night. We know you're on the plane. We know.
we know that's a part of your lifestyle.
We know that's part of your lifestyle. You're better than us. I get it. It's almost like that's what it's like. It's almost like I'm better than you because I was on the plane. Dude, I used to work those planes. Now I'm not a flight attendant, but I used to work the boarding of those planes. And guess what? It's not all that glammed up because those huge planes you see, they are packed to the gills. They get assigned seats and everything. I did not know this.
Okay, so I'm about to tell everybody a secret that I actually learned about.
You were in a wheel well of one of those planes, weren't you?
No. So 6 months into us doing the show.
About
6 months into us doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
I actually found out from somebody at One Bills Drive that nobody at that building actually likes Sal Capaccio. At the time, I hadn't yet kind of like I knew Sal switched up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I knew that he was kind of like he took the job, and I understood, dude. That's your livelihood.
Right.
You got a family to take care of. You know what I'm saying. This provides that opportunity for you to live a lifestyle with your son and with your wife that you probably otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. So okay, cool, I get it, but at the same time, to then learn, the way he talks, like he's buddy with everybody. But dude, nobody likes him in that building.
You can tell the mood. Like when he comes on the afternoon shows on 550, he goes on the morning show. You can hear the shift in the demeanor. Just like you guys said. And then like he'll sit there and he's like kind of blunt. It's kind of it's standoffish. To the point where I remember one show.
You talking about when he's doing his own show, or
no, when he's like doing a guest appearance of other people's shows.
Really?
It's standoffish. And like if you like, and the thing is, when you watch it on YouTube now, they have their faces when he's in the studio, so you can see there's some kind of tension. Also, I remember, and I'm not affiliated with GR, but I remember I texted you. This is before we did our show, but I believe Shope and Sal. Remember I tell you they got into it, and then they went to commercial, came back. Shope wasn't there for the rest of the day.
What?
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, they sent him home because Bulldog was like in an odd position where he had to like carry the show.
Yeah.
But there was no show. It was like, where'd he go?
Holy cow.
So and this is not a bang on Sal because as a man, I respect him, and as a person, I hope he's cool.
Yeah.
But it's just like, remember where you came from.
Right.
Remember you were like us. You were calling into the radio shows. I think it was with Rick Azar or whoever it was. He said he was calling into all the time, and you got your start by going to Syracuse. You pounded the pavement. You did your due. So you deserve where you are.
Yep.
But don't forget where you've been. Exactly. And that's something that we don't want to do in the show. So if you guys think we're getting out of pocket, please let me know. And I mean that seriously. Call me out seriously, because I don't ever want to change for you guys. Or I'll change a little bit for you, but whatever.
I appreciate it. I know it just takes wings to make you change.
That's it. Oh.
Some good old Ree's tea.
Yeah, and some good old Ree's tea. Now you talking. Now you talking.
Good job. Judy.
Donnie, what's going on? Says Tre White just another waste of money by Bean. Yeah, I mean, look.
Yes, no.
No. You know what's funny, and I put this out on Twitter the day before it happened. You and I were messaging on Twitter about what was the other signing they were talking about doing?
I got to look at it now. I remember
there was somebody else that well, you know what? I think you just related the post to what the air raid was. Air Raid Buffalo?
Oh yeah, I'm about to find it.
Yeah, so Air Raid Buffalo was talking about if the Bills are looking for somebody to fill that CB2 role, we've got a good idea in mind, and they put video up of Tre White playing for Baltimore.
Yep.
And Bradbury, that's who
Bradbury
it was.
The other one. Yep.
Yeah. So they were saying that's a better option than Bradbury, and I'm thinking in my head, Bradbury's younger. He's had less ACL injuries than Tre White has had.
Yeah.
Why would we ever do that? And the idea of going back to a guy that we already kicked out of the building was like it's a stupid move from a financial standpoint, because the return on investment it's just not going to be worth it. It can't possibly be worth it. It can't possibly be worth it. Not worth the time, not worth the money either, right? And me putting the positive spin that I did on it today is me trying to just understand what the heck the Bills were thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I think Bradbury he's either the same age or maybe a year older, but the point is still they're about the same age.
Then Tre, he did. Yeah, he is older. That's right. I'm sorry. That's my mistake.
It's all good. The point still stands. I mean, the ACLs and the injuries, and Bradbury had he just came off an ACL, didn't he? Was it 23?
He's 31, so he's a year older than Tre White.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still,
But again, still,
Cato caught on Cranberry.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't had 2 ACL injuries. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
his stuff has been, a few soft tissue injuries here and there, but nothing as serious as an ACL until recently. So
I think they tried to get him when he left New York, didn't they? I mean, because they drafted him.
No,
Carolina.
He wanted too much money.
That's what I'm saying. They tried to get him, but he wanted too much. So because they drafted him in Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was familiarity.
Yeah. People were making a huge connection between the Bills and Bradbury when he was available.
Sankey, that's my fear as well. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not trying to be that guy. I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, but I said pretty much that very thing. He said, I feel like Tre will be CB2 and now they have just another excuse to not draft talent. That's kind of where that's my fear. I don't care about Tre being back, but I don't know if you saw it, but I said that's a nice sound. I don't know if you saw it, but I wrote in my article. No, but I said that in lesser words, he's going to impede the guy because of familiarity. Now they're familiar with him and Dane Jackson, so he's going to play before tonight. The rookie had to be like Jordan in '92 in order for him to usurp Tre White.
Oh yeah, easily. But again, this is also why we said like everything is becoming much clearer now the more research and information we get, because from a leverage standpoint, the only way that the Bills can continue to be competitive every year is if they're not spending too much money in any one particular area.
Yep.
They got Josh Allen for less than he's worth. All the other players they signed this year, they got them for Greg Rousseau, they got him for about what he's worth, in my opinion. Benford, I think they paid him a little bit more than what he's worth, just slightly, like maybe a $2 to $3 million more than what he's worth, in my opinion. But for the most part, they got team-friendly deals is the point that I'm trying to make, right? So all of this kind of, when you look at all these moves and you understand that the focus of the team is to manage contracts in a way that allows the team to maintain leverage so that they can maintain their game plan of being competitive every year. Because think about what the Bengals are going through right now, right? The players had all the leverage. The owner is known as being a cheapskate and not wanting to pay players. But those players, all three of them, were way too good to just leave and go to another team. And unfortunately, they couldn't get a deal done with any of those guys before they hit the last year of their contract. So the team lost all the leverage in that case. That's why all three of them got the big bag, right? So now in that relationship, as long as those players continue to play the way that they do, they continue to maintain high leverage. Right. And so now the team as a whole, from a salary cap standpoint, now they can't pay Trey Hendrickson. You see what I'm saying? So they're about to lose Hendrickson. They don't really have any other great defensive players. The rest of their offensive line is pretty decent. They got Chase Brown at running back. They got Zach Moss, I think, still maybe.
Believe it or not, listen to that. They got Zach Moss. See, who thought that would have been say? That's a sentence that we constructed ourselves because the Bills would have told you he was hot. Poo and
exactly.
And he goes to Indy and tears it up.
But yeah, so that the idea is for the Buffalo Bills, and this is what we're bringing out now, is that the Bills' plan from the beginning to stay competitive was to not bring in those A+ level talent players, because those are the guys that make the most money. Period. Right? If you can get similar or close production to those guys from B-level guys, well, then you only got to pay B-level money.
Yep.
And now you can have more of those guys on your team and stay competitive every season. Yep. It is a good plan from the standpoint of being competitive every season. On top of that, you have Josh Allen.
Well, that I was going to say, not because you said it, and I don't take it that way, but I hate that. I really hate that. Because
I get it.
Well, I was going to say it before you said it, but it's because the Bills fans say that and they believe it.
What?
Do whatever you want. We got Josh.
Oh, yeah.
And Josh is not the kind of guy like, F this. You're right. They got me. Pay me again. He's the kind of guy, I go out there and do my 111th. He pushes the company line.
Yeah.
And what's $5 million? We needed money. They didn't get you. Mahomes said, give me some talent. Take my money. Give me some talent. So they did it. Whether it worked or not, they went for it. Josh is like, it's $5 million. End of sentence. Then what? That should be a semicolon. Yeah. Then what? What's the rest of it? Because if you take my 5, where's it going to go? I don't want to hear it's going to Tre White that I'm already paying. It's not on my team, but now I got to pay him to be on my team. Somebody in the comments said, I don't know if it's a troll or not. Doug at the top. If they combine Tre and Dane, we might be onto something. Exactly.
They have a laboratory somewhere in the stadium.
Because we did it with wait for it, Levi Wallace, Kevin Johnson, and Josh Norman.
Sure did.
And that was on the other side of Tre White. So now we're gonna move Tre White. We're gonna slide him over into that ball of soap that you wet up when you're at the end of all hope. You just clump them all together and try to make one more bar of soap. That's what we got now. Our CB2 is a mishmash.
You start putting some water on the spot where the soap was, and try to lather that up and scoop some of it in your hand.
Ain't no good. Ken, give me a bar.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Spin the contract is 1 year worth up to $6.8 million.
Yeah, so we don't know the individual breakdown.
Not yet, but he's also getting $4 million from the dead cap hit that he had from his contract when he was here 2 years ago.
So yes, that even if I was thinking league minimum, so that's like 1.8 or 1.9 or something like that. So yeah, 2 million basically on top of the 4 that he's already on the hook for.
Yep.
So you're talking about five, almost 6 million towards Tre White, whether or not he hits any incentives or not. He's still I mean, obviously he doesn't get the money this year. It's already it's squared away. So anybody that, if you don't understand what we're saying when we say it's dead cap, that means it's almost like we're paying him because we already paid him years ago. They just moved the money down so that it would fit under the cap. That's all it means. He's not getting more money off the old contract, but he still counts as if we were paying him. See Bobby Bonilla. That's what you look at. Bobby Bonilla Day. Every whatever day it is, he gets paid 1.3 mil for 35 years or whatever it is. So
he's still getting that money. It's just
he hasn't played since the 90s.
Right.
So
right. And so it would be very plausible that the deal is low cap hit in terms of guaranteed money, with most of the money put into incentives, because if like as Sel reported this morning, if those incentives are deemed as not likely to achieve, then they don't count against the salary cap. So if the Bills basically bury the contract in incentives that he's not likely to achieve, they can control how much he makes, essentially. If it's $2 million and they don't really need him, then he won't get enough snaps and enough opportunities to hit those incentives.
Right.
And it'll just be $2 million guaranteed with the $4 million that he gets from the dead cap hit. So, again, this is a strong position of leverage for the Buffalo Bills. This is how they've maintained leverage over all these players year in and year out. They maintain leverage over. The only player that I think they didn't maintain leverage over was Steph Diggs.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs was the only player they could not maintain leverage over. Why? Because he was top 5 at his position. That's it. I mean, think about how hard they've tried to not draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah.
They don't want those guys because those guys get paid the most.
Yep.
What's going on, Michael Bell? Welcome to the chat. Because you're here, you are now part of the family, and unfortunately, there's no way for you to get out. Steve, what's going on? Steve says, when the Bills signed Tre White, the first thing I thought was they are very interested in Siobhan Ravel, and White is a stopgap until Ravel is totally healthy. That's exactly what I started to think after the initial I hate this move.
Yeah, you were ready to take a hibernation.
I was. So my new hashtag, just so everybody knows, my new hashtag now is wake me up when Allen retires. And unfortunately, that's probably not going to be until I'm well into my 50s. And that is kind of hard for me to deal with that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Off.
Right. Everything you say from now on.
Tyrod Taylor.
That sounds like it's very loud. I apologize if that's too loud for it.
Devin Singletary.
That makes you want to do like this here, just because you get a hearing test.
That is really.
Did you hear it?
Jeez.
But this is me when I was a kid. Hit it again. And they like, can you hear that? I'm like,
oh, the hearing test is right. Yeah. Like they had them coming from everywhere too. It was like literally like you were playing a video game. Like I'd be sitting there focused, like I'm playing Tron or something. Like, Yep. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, so all right.
Go.
Time wise, we got to move on. I wanted to see what you thought about this. I was quite frustrated when I found out about this on Twitter. So the legends that come out and announce the picks in the second round for the teams, right? The legend for the Buffalo Bills.
Is it Tre White? That'd be crazy. Go ahead.
He's still on the team. How is this possible?
Oh God, no!
He come out sweating because he just came from OTAs.
I got my jersey on.
Right. He just puts it over his shoulder. You see the 7 right at the. So you don't know who it is?
No.
It's Lee Evans, bro.
Where's Mac?
Where's
Mac?
Where are the crickets? Do we have crickets? Yeah. We got some crickets. Lee Evans, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Evans. Like, seriously. Legend? The man had what? 2 good seasons here?
Yeah.
And he's a legend? Like, I wouldn't call James Cook a legend.
Oh, you didn't did it. See, Roy already did it. Look at 631. Roy said Tommy's the ultimate defender of James Cook. Then Tommy pops in. I heard Singletary's name. We talking about Singletary? I'm here. No, we're not. We're not. We're not.
It's like Superman in that daggone watch that Jimmy has. It's like, whoa, Singletary. Yeah, right. Here he comes flying over. Somebody called my name. No, not your name, Tommy. Singletary, not you.
It's one of the same.
Basically. So yeah, Lee Evans, dude. Like that's the Bills' legendary player, the Bills' legend that's gonna come out and read the card for our draft pick. Like, and the point I wanted to bring out is this: if this guy is who we're calling one of the Bills' legends, or you know what? It's not even us. It's the Bills themselves putting him out there as a Bills legend to go and read a draft pick for us. This is the guy that the Bills are telling us this is one of the most iconic players that this franchise has ever had.
Yep.
We are in trouble.
That's what they're telling us. I mean, that's yeah.
Because realistically, we're not looking at the team now. We're not going to have anybody else that, quite frankly, is more justified than Lee Evans until Josh Allen retires. Like, we're going to be in our 60s by the time Josh Allen gets up on the podium and reads a name from the second round.
You have a corduroy jacket on with the elbow pads.
Right,
yes,
exactly.
Josh with the little silver, the what do you call it, the salt and pepper hair. Oh, I can't wait. I can wait, but I can't wait.
It's you know what? I'm not even going there.
What, you don't like the elbow pads?
I just looked at the chat and I'm not even going to dignify that with the response. So to me, I know it's there. It's pretty obvious. To me, it's kind of an indictment on where the Bills have been for years, where in the drought, we had all these good names that couldn't get bigger because we never got a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we never got a quarterback because we were never willing to do what it takes to get a top tier quarterback.
Sal, 1,000,000,000% Eric Moles before Lee Evans. But this is my counterpoint. Roy, you know I love you, but Lee Evans had more than 2 good years. Look at who his quarterbacks were. Then he didn't have 2 good years. It's that simple. We're not going to put in factors and coefficients, stuff like he didn't have 1 or 2 good years then.
Yep.
I mean, I'm looking at right now, Lee Evans had 2 seasons in Buffalo where he had over 60% catch percentage. He had 2,000-yard years. He had 3 seasons where he had over a 50% success rate. For Buffalo, he had 256 first downs on 377 catches, 698 targets. I mean, fine, whatever. You're talking about touchdowns. I don't even. Let's see.
He was a good. He would probably have been a Devontae Smith type of player where he's the best number 2 in the league.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking. I mean, fine. Lee Evans, that's another one of the Bills' lore. You know, it is what it is. And like I said, it's fine if you like these players. It's fine.
Yeah.
But what is it? What are you? Yeah, Nate Peterman's definitely. They got to call him in for one. Just because he's like one of the most iconically bad quarterbacks. It keeps getting jobs. Who's his agent? Because I need this guy.
Yeah. But okay. So think about this. The Falcons
Laura, be quiet. I'm not talking about that. She said all I know is Aaron Williams was fine at the draft last year.
Yo, Aaron Williams, if he got up there, I'd be happy.
Well, no, she meant fine. Like, not. She meant fine.
I was trying as hard as I could not to address what she said about him being fine.
Because I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because I was gonna say pause on that.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw Lee Evans, the only reason I saw Lee Evans because his wife is just amazing looking. And I was at work and I was like,
There's Lee Evans.
Oh, whatever. This freaking guy. Sorry, T. This is before you. Don't worry about it.
Right. But so check this out, right? So the Bills have Lee Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Falcons are bringing in Keith Brooking.
That's a linebacker.
You know what I'm saying? Like Keith Brooking. You know what I'm saying? You know who the Packers are bringing in? Clay Matthews, bro. Clay Matthews is coming out. You know who else is coming out for the Packers? Jordy Nelson is coming out for the Packers. But we got Lee Evans. Like it's incredible to me. It really is. Like,
what would be funny if they had Cam Newton. If Cam Newton is with Carolina, and that was after the Packers pick, because he'd be like, I see you've been doing your studying. You're picking him? Watch this.
Yep. Seahawks got Richard Sherman. 49ers got Julian Peterson, the linebacker. I mean, this is John Abraham is coming out for the Jets. Jason Sehorn is coming out for the Giants.
Wow, they went in archives for that one.
Bro, like, this is crazy. Patriots, James White, we all know who that is. He used to kill us like crazy. Yep. Dante Hall is coming out for the Chiefs.
X Factor.
Like,
as they announced somebody else, the Bills gave to him.
Amon Green is coming out for the Packers.
There you go.
Joe Thomas is coming out for the Browns. Like, this is what I'm talking about, people. Like, Patrick Peterson is coming out for the Cardinals. Like, what are we doing?
What's going on, Beth?
What are we doing? We out here pushing Lee Evans as a legend with all these names.
But that's the thing, and that's that. Once again, I don't want to bang on the Bills fans, but this is the competition. That's the competition. It's not, who do I want to come out, but
Well, that's always the response, and I don't think Cato is asking it from that perspective,
right?
I think he's just asking just out of curiosity.
No, I know. And what I'm saying, I'm sitting here thinking like Gerald Talley, Cornelius Bennett,
yeah,
Henry Jones.
But I think what you said is a good point though, because I think a lot of the rah-rah fans do ask that question from an insulted standpoint. Well, who do you want to come out?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that what you were trying to point out, I think that is the key right there. Like, never mind what we just said and what we're trying to, prove and talk about.
Right.
You just take offense because we're talking bad about a Bills player. That's not good enough.
Yeah. It's
not good enough.
It's tough.
Cato says Green is a good one. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these names
Spikes
on here
would be nice. Keo Spikes, London Fletcher, any of those boys.
Exactly. Why we couldn't get one of them?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because these are players that were drafted by the teams. We didn't draft Akio Spikes or London Fletcher.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, you could. It's fine. Has Jim Kelly done it yet?
Oh my God, Simeon Rice is coming out for the Bucks. Bro.
That's a name I ain't heard in forever. Who's next? Hardy Nickerson.
Keith Bullock is coming out for the Titans, bro. There's names on this list. Melvin Gordon's coming back. TJ Slaughter for the Jaguars.
For real?
Huh?
Like is that true that they're all coming like to their former teams?
No. So in the second round of the draft, there's this thing now it's kind of become a thing where what the teams consider to be a legendary player that played for their franchise before, they come out and they read the draft pick. So instead of the commissioner coming out and reading it, they have the player come out and read the draft pick for that team that they used to play for.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, bro, like, it's crazy. I mean, and there's still current players that are coming out too. Like Terrion Arnold is coming out for the Lions. Jonathan Taylor is coming out for the Colts. Bro, Lynn Swann is coming out for the Steelers. Like, you got some real iconic names on this list. Travis Frederick is coming out for the Cowboys. Like, there's names on this list, bro. And then here's Lee Evans.
Yeah. I mean, what are the alternates now?
You think we should appoint alternates if we vote somebody off?
He's an alternate. It's like, call Thomas Jones. What's he doing? And we don't call Derrick Henry. What's he doing? You don't want to know. Okay, we'll move to the next person. It's like, I mean, this is, like I said, this is not to get on, but look how happy people are. You guys in the chat, look how happy people are when they hear these names, when they hear Yeah, they could do Spielman.
Yeah.
Guys that came to Buffalo and embodied Buffalo and actually were part of something big. Lee Evans wasn't a winner.
Right.
He wasn't a winner. And yes, why not? What's the problem with Joe DeLamalure? Why not? No.
Yeah, I mean, look, if that's go ahead.
What about Kenneth Davis? How about that? That'd be a name, Kenneth Davis.
Yeah. I mean, Steve says Jarrisburg.
Yes, I would be all about that. As much as I can't stand it. If anybody says Xavier Watts, and I am anywhere within earshot of anybody, guess what? You will hear me scream very loud.
Roy's got a bash list now. McDermott, Bean, Singletary, Evans, and whoever it was last time. The list.
No, the onus is on you. The onus is on you to tell us who the other person was. Don't give me whoever it was last time. Fill in the blank.
Do the work.
Right.
Do the work.
You slander, fill it in.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite frustrating, bro. I mean, the idea that we just cannot seem to get to a place where our team looks like it is trying to be a part of the league. Like, even with what the Bills are doing now with this be competitive every season, teams are not trying to do that. They're trying to build teams to win a Super Bowl, and it usually just doesn't work out because their quarterback is not good enough or they paid the wrong player.
Yeah, they don't operate with the mindset this is always next year.
Right.
It's usually this year or bust. It's usually this year or we don't get another shot. But the Bills have this continuous building mentality. And somebody was talking about the Sabres and how they put the press release out that Kevin Adams is going to be here next year. It's like, how does that work? Because he was proven to be one of the worst GMs ever. Granato should have been here before, after Kevin Adams, how bad he is. But there's one consistent denominator is Terry Pegula. He's a guy that's so out of touch with his own teams and his own dealings that you get a pass. Right. Because the judge, jury, and executioner is asleep at the wheel.
Yep.
So if you want, there you go, Roy. You can put him on the list. Pegula, take off, and I'll leave them all on there, but put Pegula on there too.
All right. Do you want to get to what do you want to do? You want to go through the list now?
I want to talk about draft.
Let's do it.
Now, I don't not the list just yet, but before we do, I have a couple of precursors. Now, there's one thing that really annoys me about the way people talk about this team. That you hear about this team all the time.
This team.
There's one phrase that set me off.
Okay.
The path to the 53. The path to the 53. I hate that slogan. The path to the because when they do drafts, they say, well, we could get a Xavier Watt, but we already got Forrest and Bishop and Rapp and Hamlet. So he has no path to the 53. Is that what we're doing? Which one of those guys is the first round draft pick? Which one of those guys besides Bishop has a major investment placed onto him? So why is it that those four guys, because they're there, Xavier Watt, we don't need him. We don't need. Let Malachi Starks be sitting there at 30. I pray to God you let that happen, and the Bills go somewhere else. I will. Man, I'm telling you. But see, the thing is, who gives a care? Remember that from the 90s? I don't give a care. We didn't curse in school. No, I don't give a care. I mean, I just cursed. Yeah, I did too. But you ain't never heard of kids say, I don't give a care. Well, I don't give a care. Really?
Yeah, wow. All the kids in my class cuss.
Yeah, I mean, we were vagabonds, but whatever. Yeah. My thing is, if you're not one of the top two at your position, your spot is not safe. That's the way I look at it. If you're not, we're looking for constant competition. That's one of the reasons why this Tre White thing bothers me. You know what you got in him.
Yeah.
And you don't, because he's 2 years removed from what you had when you had him last.
Yep.
So when you're talking about, we got Greg Rousseau, we got this guy and that guy, and so we don't need that. BS. Because last I checked, you were one of the worst teams against the run. Last I checked, you might have all these defensive ends, you might have these linebackers, but guess what? They weren't worth the pot you pissed in when it mattered the most. So that means let's bring some competition in. There is no path to the 53 when you don't have a team full of Pro Bowlers. You don't have a team full of all pros like the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a hard roster to crack. The Bills' quarterback position is a hard nut to crack. The running back position, obviously, because James Cook and the guys they just brought back and the one they re-signed, it's harder to get into. I get that. Yeah. But for the most part, you're talking about wide receivers. Curtis Samuel. After this year, they can get out of his contract. Keon Coleman. They say we had a hard and honest conversation with this guy. Whoever else has been, Tyrell Shavers, KJ Hamler, Jalen Virgil. Who cares? Who cares? Where the rest of them at? So why is it that we're like, oh, we don't need that guy because we got these guys? But then when we watch them on the field, it's like, who are these guys? They're just a guy. Give me something more than just a guy. So the path to the 53 that's a non-story until you tell me who are your unquestioned primary player and their unquestioned backup.
Yep.
So that's how you go into the draft, but they won't do that. They won't. You got to play special teams. You can't carry 5. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I'm like, 420 lady, thank you very much. But the thing is, when I'm sitting here thinking about listening to these guys regurgitate stuff all the time, I'm like, you know what? Why do we put more emphasis on the special teams player than anybody else? I mean, all you hear, they got to play teams. I listen to the Locked Dorms. I listen to other podcasts. And yeah, they want you to play special teams, but guess what? Your third player on the mid, he should be a linebacker on top of being a special teams player. Yep. There's a reason why Tyler Bass never kicked the ball in play last year.
Did Keon Coleman play special teams?
Did not play special teams.
No. Did Dwayne Carter play special teams?
He didn't even play defense.
They say this across the board for every draft pick, right? Mm-hmm. First round, second round, we want them to be able to do multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Why? They don't do it when they're on your team. You don't use them that way. That to me is the craziest part about all this is you have linebackers that were safeties in college, and you brought them in because you thought they could play linebacker even though they were safeties.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are willing to take a chance on letting a player come in and do something that they didn't do in college, then why do you hold them to this bar of needing to be able to play special teams and then you don't do it? It's literally talking out of both sides of your neck.
Yep. I mean, that's you've gotten rid of talent.
Yeah.
You shelve talent for this. I mean, Daquan Hardy, I thought he was still on the team. He showed out well. I could work with that. I could build on that, but they can't because he didn't play teams. Well, he played teams. They drafted him to play teams, and he fielded a kick inside the 5. He caught a fair catch. In college, guess what? That's the touchback.
Yeah.
So second game of his pro career, what do? Old habits die hard. Bet. And then what do you mean? Why do we have the ball here? Why is it here? Because that's the rule now. Okay. Let me learn. James Cook. You fumbled? How many times has he fumbled in his career? Is it more than 5? If it is, it's not many more. Right. But the first time he fumbled, what happened? He sat down. You got to let young guys learn. You got to be willing to. And your owners asleep at the wheel anyway, so guess what? Have at it.
Yeah.
See what you got. And for the love of God, why do we need linebackers that need to play the inside and outside? Why do you have to be, everybody got to be ambiguous? Why defensive tackles got to be, they play 1 and 3? Why is it Ed Oliver was okay to be a 1 tech when he's a speed rusher?
If you look at the design of the offense, and this is going to, okay, I'm going to do my best to explain this because this is actually very, very crazy when you think about it. The design of the defense is to be multiple from the same look, right? And when you have players that can do multiple things and you play that style of defense with that kind of, we want to be multiple but not show multiple until we have to type of scheme, it forces you to look in the draft for the exceptions to the rule. And that's something that we banged on the Bills for doing before, constantly going and looking for these unicorns that can come in and fit not just the culture, but have a perfect background check and also be a choir boy and never do anything wrong once they get to the NFL, right? And so when they pay these guys, it looks great on the team, but we've already bought into the team so much by that point that it's kind of hard to go against it when it doesn't work. The only option we have left is to just hope that it works at some point, which is where we are now, right? I'll take it back to Roy's point a couple of minutes ago. He said, hold on. Bean last year said the team may take a step back because of the roster reshuffle, and then they still made the AFC Championship game. The question here is, or should be, Why did he come out and say that? They've never said that before when they let good players go. They didn't say that in 2018. They said they were going through roster surgery.
Yeah, guess what? What would have happened to the Bills had they not figured out how to change the offense? Would they have made it to the AFC Championship game? They went and got Amari Cooper.
Exactly.
Because the offense was terrible. It was floundering.
Right.
They were on their last legs. And we all saw it. They were so easy. It was so easy to figure out what they were going to do. It was so easy to figure out what we could and couldn't do. That's why teams knew how to defend us so well.
Yep.
So they say, you know what? We're not tanking, but we're gonna do some roster surgery, try to get our cap number. But we can't do this because somebody called them out. I don't know who it was. Somebody in the front office, maybe Pagula woke up from his nap and said, what the hell is going on?
Right.
You know, why are we not? And so they will go get the guy that they can get with a name for $860,000. Now, had he been $4 million, he wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
So people laud him. Oh man, we went and got Amari Cooper, but guess what? They got Amari Cooper because he was low hanging fruit.
Right.
It was so easy to do that.
So here's the kicker about this idea of being multiple on defense. Right. And this is what I've been trying to bring out for a while now, because a lot of people have been talking about how great of a job that Joe Brady has done with the offense. When you look at the design of the offense, one of the things that they started doing with Ken Dorsey in year 2, which is really when the offense started to change away from Brian Daboll's offense, the idea of being multiple from the same looks then transferred over to the defense or the offense rather. I'm sorry. Because before, when you look at the offense, it was we run an air raid system.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We are just going to put your secondary in conflict. We have weapons that can beat your players, and we can beat zone and man coverage. Try to stop it. Right? And once you start getting into the West Coast, run the same plays out of different formations, or I'm sorry, run the same plays out of different formations. Well, that's what the defense does, right? So my point in all this is, I don't think it was a coincidence that after Brian Daboll left, the offense, scheme-wise, started to look more and more like what Sean McDermott does on defense, right? And this idea that Sean is hiring these offensive coordinators to come in here and give them autonomy, that's a fallacy. It's just as much of a fallacy as anything else that we've pointed out so far about what the team says they want to do and what they actually do, right? If you look, and it's right there for you to see, they run an offense that is multiple formations, same plays. That's all it is. This 4-by-1 thing, yeah, Joe Brady might have those kind of ideas, but his job is to find a way to build what Sean wants to see. He wanted an efficient. It's like giving your offensive coordinator a grocery list. I want ham, I want bacon, I want eggs, I want cheese, and I want milk. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you take a bike. I don't care if you walk. I don't care if you grow wings and fly. As long as you bring those ingredients back to me, I'm happy. And that is why the offense looks the way it looks. That is why the offense is efficiency-based and not what Joe Brady actually ran at LSU, not what Joe Brady actually learned under Sean Payton. Sean Payton has never been an efficiency guy. Neither is Joe Brady. That's who he cut his teeth under. That's who he learned offense from. But now all of a sudden, Joe Brady has gone through this NFL experience and dealt with not just one defensive-minded head coach, but two. And now onto his second defensive-minded head coach, he kind of learned the lesson of, I better find a good way to give my head coach what he wants, or I'm not going to have a job. That's really what he learned. So he got good at being able to build an offense to tailor what the head coach wants to see on offense. And that is just the kind of guy that Sean McDermott is. If you have not read it by now, find a way to play the audio version if there is one, but go back and look at the Tyler Dunn report. Sean McDermott is a micromanager to that degree, so much so to the degree that it is not unbelievable that he would put that much weight on an offensive coordinator to build an offense that plays the way he wants to see it play. Think about the conflict between him and Daboll. Why do you think that happened? The reports were coming out. Sean McDermott wants to run the ball more. Brian Daboll doesn't want to. Why? Like it's right there for you to see. So again, we have to get away from this mindset of Joe Brady's doing this and Joe Brady's doing. This is not Joe Brady's offense. He's built a car that Sean McDermott designed. Now, should he get credit for building the car? Of course. But if it fails, it should be a design flaw and not the person who manufactured it. That's where we need to land when it comes to this entire conversation about what the defense looks like and how it's multiple, what the offense looks like and how it's multiple. All this goes back to, again, the team trying to put things out there that aren't really real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to go a step further, to kind of start to segue into the draft talk that we're going to get into in a minute. You know, I was starting to think, you know, with regards to the construct, as I said, the path to the 53.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking, what are our real needs? You know, obviously people will prognosticate defensive tackle, or prognosticate wide receiver, cornerback, edge, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, defensive tackle, we've talked about this. The defensive tackles we want are CJ West. We want, you know, and CJ West is not going in the second round. He's going third round, fourth round, maybe.
Yeah.
I've seen mock drafts where he's in second, but that's not going to happen. You know, we want those head crackers like Jordan Phillips and people that don't really give you stats. Jamari Caldwell, those third to fourth round guys. That's where so in my mind, when I'm talking about moving up, are we talking about an edge? You got Michael Hoyt after 6 games. You got Javon Solomon. You got Epinesa, which I saw last night. As a matter of fact, I said, okay. So they're on a rotation though. So that side's pretty much squared away. Then you got Russo over here. Why is Epinesa not getting more of a shot? I mean, that's the thing. Is he untapped? Has he done anything for us that we say, you know what, he ain't him? I mean, obviously, we don't want him to be the starter for a long period of time, as we've seen. Yeah. But what we've seen from him, he actually does make plays. Why is it that he's not on the field more? Because they have this pre-programmed snap count. They always have this pre-programmed snap count for other players that are not Ed Oliver or Greg Rousseau on the front four. So do you really want to invest a high-quality asset into a defensive end when you know they're not going to play and they're in this hella rotation? I can do a second round. You know, give me well, we won't say names because that's what we're going to actually talk about.
Okay.
But, you know, then when I talk about, you know, offensive line, we're good there. We got backups. We got Anderson. We got Van Pran. We got Grable. We got Vandermark. We got guys there. Whatever. If you want to take one in the 6th round, go ahead, do your thing. But one thing I'm wondering, why are we not talking about tight end? And everybody's saying it now, and I had it in mind, but why aren't we talking about tight end?
Because it's not a perceived need.
The crazy part about that is you guys want to run Dawson Knox out. Then what? You got Kincaid. Ain't nobody else coming to the party. Nobody else there.
I mean, you still got Quentin Morris.
No, you don't. He's gone.
Is he really?
Yeah, they didn't re-sign him. He's out there. He's a free agent.
So,
they got Davidson. That's it.
Davidson. That's right.
So
that's right.
Davidson, I've seen enough of him. I know you and Matt were high on him, but I'm like, okay, he's cool.
He's one of those guys that I don't think really got a shot.
He might not have, but you know, when I sit here and I think about it, I'm like, okay, you got Jake Brenningstool in the 6th round, which is a tight end out of Clemson. You got Ben Yurasek from Georgia
that are in the draft now.
They're in the draft now, and they're late round. They're 5th, 6th round guys.
Yeah,
you're talking about Arondé Gaston too, Nick Fedone from Nebraska. These are guys that you can get. So these are late round guys that fulfill a need.
Yeah,
but you don't have to reach for them. So then I'm sitting here, okay, all right. Why don't we try Travis Clayton at defensive tackle? I've said this before. 6'7", 301 rugby player. Who knows? I don't know what you guys know about rugby, but it's all lower body.
Yep.
It's fundamental what? Tackling. What do defensive tackles do? They get through the muck and they find the ball, they tackle. Because in rugby, it's harder to find the ball than not because the ball's always moving. But instead, you put them on a position that might be way harder. I played defensive line. I started as an adult playing football, and I only played D-line. I tried offensive line. I can tell you, D-line is a lot easier to learn.
Yes. And
at that size and at that physical stature and his background, what do you have to lose? We ain't got no D tackles anyway. He's not going to cut it as an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Put him on the D line. He's long.
But you know what? 6'7", 305. His size would tell you that he could be a good player. right? And then you look at his rugby background and you look at his size, and all that together would tell you he should be a good player, right? And then you look at the fact that he was drafted and on a team that needs defensive tackle help. All of that would say to somebody, there's opportunity there. There's reason to believe he could achieve it. But I think the question goes back to the point that we've established now several times in this episode, which is how much leverage would the Bills have if he came in and he was dominant on the defensive line? Because Christian Benford just got a bag. He was a 6th round pick. So regardless of where this kid was taken, this kid Clayton was taken, if he comes in and he is dominant on the defensive line, well, they're going to have to pay that guy in 3 years.
Yeah. We put Gable Steveson.
Oh, yeah.
5'10", 275 pounds at D tackle. Which got this guy just roasting over there.
Oh, they screwed him. You know what they did to him?
What?
So I found this out a few weeks after he was cut. Before he came with the Bills, he had a deal set up for the WWE. It was it's like a $1.3 million contract or something like that. And he was promised basically he was promised a spot on the team by the Bills. And that's why he turned down the contract for the WWE to come to training camp and compete here, because he's competing with the mindset that he's going to be on the team. He might not be on the 53, but at least somewhere. Practice squad. You know what I'm saying? He'll have a job, basically. But they cut him. He ended up with no job, and now hopefully my hope is he got a second shot with WWE, but stuff like that doesn't come often. You know what I'm saying? And you don't get multiple opportunities to make $1.3 million. But this dude turned down more money for an opportunity to come and do something he loves and got screwed.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, and the only people that know about it are Steveson and whoever he's talked to about it. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is real stuff that happens behind the scene. We don't hear about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm a little fed up with the propaganda, because ultimately, look, what the Buffalo Bills do on the field is more a result of, first and foremost, Josh Allen's greatness and the players' abilities to execute, what they set out to execute.
Kevin.
What?
Why the heck would that little man think he would be a DT at 5'11"?
I mean, so basically it's his fault then, right? Like, why in the world would you turn down a WWE thinking you could be a defensive tackle?
I mean, I agree, but
maybe if they said to him, why don't you just come to training camp, and they didn't even tell him what position he would play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was,
fullback.
Yeah,
that'd been nice.
Yeah, if he's coming in to play fullback or something like that, or I mean, 5'11". I don't even know what the heck you do at 5'11", anything over 250.
I don't know.
You can't even. He can't be a pass rusher.
I said I don't know, like I'm somewhere in the stratosphere of 5'11" of anything. I don't know.
Easy now. Easy.
I'm not trying to insult 5'11" people, but
please don't.
Know.
Please don't. Please don't. Because I'm close to 6 feet.
There you go.
But I'm only 5'11" ¾
That's all right.
Anyway,
yeah. So you want to go to your defensive ends?
Yeah, we can go to defensive ends. That'll work. That will work. Gotta make sure this is low enough. It should be right there, and we should be able to hear this. All right, it's gonna take forever to play. Here it comes. Brace yourselves, people. All right. My top 5 defensive ends that are likely to fit what the Bills want to do on defense. Okay. Now, these guys, I think I put the round projections for. I didn't put it for all of them. It was late. I was tired. But here we go.
Text in the mail. Don't worry about it.
Right. All right. Number 1 on the list, Braden Swinson out of LSU. 6'4", 250 pounds. He ran a 4.8. All right. He's got like a 3rd to 4th round projection. He's already an above average pass rusher with the skills and talent to be at least that in the NFL. High motor guy that doesn't take plays off and shows that it factor when it comes to applying pressure on and getting to the quarterback. He doesn't have elite bend, but he shows a strong grasp on leverage angles and hand usage that most guys don't have as a 3rd or 4th round projection. To me, he would be a steal in the 3rd or 4th round. I think even though he doesn't have that elite burst, even though he doesn't have elite speed, he has a great burst. When you watch him play and you watch him come off the line, he can get into a tackle faster than the tackle can anticipate. If you can hone that for a 3rd or 4th round pick, that would be a win easily. Next on my list, JT Tuimoloau. JT Tuimoloau. This guy here. This guy here.
Okay. I'm excited what you're going to say.
Listen, 6'4", 265. He's a strong, savvy player with a hound dog nose for the ball, an elite run defender that usually reads plays very well and has the strength to hold off blockers or penetrate to the runner. This dude shows an incredible ability to time bat downs and consistently affects the play in some way, shape, or form. When you're thinking about JT, my comparison is a 6'4" version of Troy Polamalu that can rush the passer. Watching this dude on the field, the way that he reads the plays and he reads the how can I phrase this? The kind of fleshing out of the play. It's like he's seeing things as they're happening and able to react a split second before it happens. The way this kid can be around the ball, the way that he can stop the run, the way that he rushes the passer. He's not an elite burst guy, but he's just savvy. He just knows how to get under or around or past guys, and there's a subtlety to his quickness, right? But you can already tell, from watching the tape, he's got the strength to be that great run defender off the bat, which in my brain immediately puts him on the defensive line to a larger degree because of what Sean likes to see out of his defensive linemen. Number 3 on my list. Not the biggest fan of this guy, but I think he is what the Bills need. And I think from what we've seen now in terms of the guys that they brought in for the top 30, they're starting to look at guys with speed. This is another one of those guys. And when I say speed for a defensive end, I mean he's got that burst. And I'm talking about Princely Uman Malin. 6'4", 255. He ran a 4.7 in the 40. But this dude is a real pass rusher, He would easily slot in as an immediate 3rd down pass rusher in the rotation and create a major benefit for Groot and company on obvious passing situations. He has a few moves in the arsenal at this point, but still needs refinement in pass rush technique and skill set as well as run diagnosis, but his raw talent alone demands the opportunity. He's one of those guys. Definitely could be a Buffalo guy. Next on my list, out of the same school, Jared Ivey, 6'6", 285. A bit of a slower dude, but he's another one of those big Joey Bosa style pass rushers. Not I wouldn't put him like on the level of a Joey Bosa, obviously, but he's one of those bigger guys that can rush the passer with strength and power moves and be consistent in doing it. He could show his worth day one in our scheme if given the chance. He's a big body rusher with limited acceleration off the edge, but makes up for it with raw power and excellent understanding of leverage positioning, especially against the run. Not a lot of pass rush counters at all, but could definitely develop into an above average starter here with more development. As far as I know, Jared Ivey is what, 4th, 5th?
I got a 3rd on him.
Okay, 3rd round. Okay, that's not bad. That's actually not bad. Last on my list, and really should have been first, because when I seen this guy, I was like, oh wait. Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 285. This dude on tape is a quicker, faster Joey Bosa. The way this dude moves, he don't look like 285. Now I get it. He used to be smaller and he got bigger and he still maintained that level of athleticism at that size. That tells me that his body had the frame to put on the extra weight and still carry it very well. That is an amazing thing as a player to have when you can put on the extra weight and still maintain it that way. That speaks to his pedigree. That speaks to his ability just in terms of raw natural talent. Okay. Now, how is nobody talking about this guy right now? He moves like he's only 245 pounds. And if he can learn some more counter moves as a pass rusher, he'll match his elite run defense and easily become one of the best edge defenders in the league. It was literally like watching, I don't know, Reggie White move around back in his day when you just didn't see a 300-pound guy be able to move with that quickness and that speed and move people with that quickness and that speed. He's not an Aaron Donald, you know what I'm saying? But again, as a defensive end playing at that size at only 6'4", that is major physical ability. Key, what say you?
Okay, so for my first guy, I have, who do I want to go with? Let me start off with, you took a couple of my guys, but the one that I think the Bills are going to be most akin to was Olu Oladejo from UCLA. He is the Big Ten Conference Fall Academic Honor Roll 2024, three-time UCLA Athletic Director's Honor Roll. Kenny Clark Award as UCLA's top defensive lineman. He's 6'3", 260, ran a 4.7 40, 20 on the bench. So we got great size, length, and athleticism for an edge rusher. Strong run defender with good pursuit leverage. Versatile experience as a linebacker and edge. So he can move him around and be multiple, as we've talked about already. Limits, his pass rush repertoire, his hand on the ground is going to need some refinement. Occasionally overextends and loses his balance. He's not that tall, but he doesn't know how to play with the pad level from low to high just yet. He's still developing his instincts as an edge rusher, which means his counters and how to read blocks with his head not available at all times. Oladejo, I have a second-round draft pick on him. I think the Bills would probably be looking long and hard at Olu. Secondly,
you gonna let him get away with that, Junie? He said long and hard.
Just pause, but just pass it because I was late.
Over with.
You got a passive pause. Just pause. Just pause.
No,
just move on. Just move on.
Yeah, but it was late. It was late.
It's okay.
You get a pass.
It's okay. Thank you.
You're not gonna reserve the right for another pause later on?
Nope.
Oh man.
We got Ashton Gillott from Louisville. Let's see where I lost him. Hold on one second. Okay, Ashton Gillott. Good Lord. He's one of the best rushers in school history. A standout junior season, 11 sacks and 14.5 tackles for loss, earned him first-team All-ACC honors. Ashton Gillott is 6'3", 264, did not run the 40. He benched 24 on the 225 at a 36.5-inch vertical. He's first-team All-ACC in 2023, second-team in 2024. Runner-up to ACC Defensive Player of the Year in 2023. Let's see. Powerful pass rusher with a variety of pass moves. Consistent tackler with good leverage. Scheme versatility on both edge and interior rusher. That's that versatility that we like. You want to reduce inside. Ashton Gillott, big body. Plays like he has one as well. He does not have the elite burst off the line, which nobody really cares about because let's just face it. At that size, we're trying to stop the run anyway. With any kind of contribution he can bring on the pass rush tip. He lacks elite burst below arm length and hand size. Occasional lapses in the run defense, but rest assured, you won't notice him because that is his claim to fame. Gillotti has been there and done it before. So you said Scorton, Tumaluau, Ivy. Let me see what else I have.
Braden, you didn't have Braden Swinson on your list.
He's on there. I'm not going to say him though.
I'm just not going to say his name. What about Umar Malin?
I don't like him.
You don't?
I don't like him.
Really?
I took him off my list. I actually had him on my list earlier, but I'm not a fan at all.
He reminds me of like a Arden Key or like who was that guy we had here that was pretty good? We got him from he had like 9 sacks. This is like 3 years ago. And then he went to the 49ers.
Oh, you talking about Floyd?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, the thing about you mind me yelling is this: he's not sudden. He even said it. He said he's pretty much one speed.
Yep.
And he's probably best served to be an outside linebacker in a 3-4.
Yeah, he's almost always standing up.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm cool with that, but you got to be able to give me something in the run game as well, and I need somebody that they're going to be worried about going off the edge. He just doesn't have that bend. Let's see. I have Savion Jones, 6'5", 283, ran a 4.7 out of LSU. He's a powerful defender with NFL caliber length, effective against the run, setting a hard edge, explosive first step, and improving pass rush tools. I gotta make my cells bigger because everything is just a muck here. He got inconsistent production as a pass rush. He struggles with tackling from time to time. He has lapses in this regard. I think the Bills would take somebody like this because they can mold him. He has the capability to reduce inside if they so choose. That's not my wishes, my like, but I think they do cherish that kind of deal. He's an honorable mention All Big Ten in 2023 and 2024, Senior Bowl invitee, Class 3 AMVP, outstanding defensive player in high school. Who else can I do? I got Baron Sorrell. You didn't do him, did you? Okay, Baron Sorrell from Texas, 6'4", 260, ran a 4.68 40. Baron Sorrell, he's versatile in his alignment. He has solid technique and motor, effective against the run with good leverage and pad level. Durable and consistent performer. A limited pass rush and has stiff hips. Don't worry about that. The Bills don't like bendy guys anyway.
No,
so
they really
it works
don't.
out well.
That's why none of the guys I picked were bendy guys.
That's it. I had Savion Jones. It's kind of like a Nico Autry. Plays like 4 or 5 positions. Cornerback if you want, not really. Actually, they do play him in coverage and at 6'3", 280 at times. It's weird, but whatever.
Spin, take us with you.
Yeah, no, I got to go to work soon, but bring it to my job. Yeah. Let's see. Sorrell, out of All Big Ten. I did that already. Let's see. Who else do I have on here? Who can I go through? Somebody I like that isn't talked about a lot. David Walker from Central Arkansas. 60 tackles, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles last year. Explosive first step, strong leverage, versatile alignment with a high motor, effective bull rush, and ability to shed blocks. He's kind of like the poor man's version, the little brother version of CJ West. You can tell he has a body strength. He doesn't really play with finesse, but what he does is manhandle the guy in front of him. He's tough to move. He's undersized for the position, but I mean, you're looking at a guy that's the same size, a little bigger than Javon Solomon, so I don't think the Bills care about that. At 6'1", 263, 4.69 40. At a 1.65 10-yard split, which is just about average for a defensive end, which was good enough for a FCS school. He's a Buck Buchanan Award winner in 2024, 3-time Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and numerous All-American honors awards. So off the record here, actually not off the record, on the record, but off this topic, I want to close out with your quick thoughts, guys in the chat. What do you think about taking a chance on Sanders? Yes, not Shador, Shiloh.
You know what? I wouldn't be mad at that.
No, I like Shiloh in the sense that he didn't get his car. Deion doesn't give him a car, unfortunately. he ran a measly 4.52, which is average for a safety, which is cool. But the downside to Shiloh is tackling. But at the same time, if you look at his nose for the ball, you look at his ability to fall giants, we'll say, because he's only what 5, what do I have, 5'10", 195 or something like that. And he hits hard. You know, he's a guy that tries hard. He's going to be the redheaded stepchild of the family, because you got Shiloh, you got Deion, and you got this guy over here.
He's used to being an outcast.
Yeah,
fit right in.
You know, so to come to Buffalo, the only thing I'm worried about is McDermott's inability to deal with. No, I actually, Kev, I had him as a 6, really. So right up your alley. I guess we're agreeing. But yeah, he's, you know, would McDermott be able to deal with the spectacle of Deion Sanders in Buffalo? Would Buffalo fans receive the perceived primetime mentality in Buffalo? That's another thing that we got to be worried about. But I think, okay, Kev, yeah, 6. But yeah, no, I think with the state of our safety room, with the state of our pipeline that we're trying to build, and the lineage that he has, to get out from under his dad's shadow, his brother's shadow, and everything else, away from Atlanta and all that stuff that his dad did, and come to a place his dad would never play. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, look, the show is still going to come at some point.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Deion is going to be in town at some point to see his son, and it's going to be a spectacle. And I don't think Sean McDermott wants a guy that players would love to play for, even at an NFL level, walking into his building just to see his son.
Right.
You know, look, my hope is that one of the first 3 picks that we take is a safety, because I think the top needs right now is corner, defensive tackle, and safety.
The reason I like that, the D tackle, I agree, but I don't put up that much of a weight on him because there's so many later on.
Yes.
Cornerback, after the first round, after the first 5 or so, it's over with. You know, until you get to Upton Stouts and stuff like that, and in the back end, where you're reaching. Defensive tackle, what we need, we don't need the pass rusher so much as we need that run stuffer, and that's later on in the draft. I'm good with that. And safety as well. Once you get past even Worries, Xavier Watts, and Malachi Starks, you're kind of, you know, you got Lathan Ransom from Ohio State and people like that, but there's a stark fall off after you get past Xavier Watts and Makuba's. You know, after that. Yeah. You're kind of now we're dealing with the realm that they like to play in, where it's a backup guy that's got to play special teams in order to do what he's going to do.
Yep. Oiler Titan, welcome to the show. Says the 3 teams that have really whipped KC in the last 4 years were Tampa in 2020, Tennessee in 2021, and Philly in 2024. The thing they had in common: great DTs. Mahomes hates pressure up the middle, as does any quarterback. Just ask him.
Yep.
It's the shortest distance to a quarterback, period. You know what? And I wanted to make sure I brought this out too, because I know we talked about defensive tackles and the type of defensive tackles that we think fit what the Bills need in order to unlock Ed Oliver. But let's be real. I think the way the Buffalo Bills have shown us they want to play on the defensive line is they want run-stopping defensive ends, and they actually want the pressure to come from the middle. Because if they really valued that bend and that speed around the corner from the edge, they would have drafted it.
Yep.
I mean, they went back to back, 100%. Boogie bash them and groups.
So, yep, 100%. After Epinesa. So
yeah, right. So they don't actually want pressure to come from the ends. They want it coming up the middle. Which
pocket,
cool. But if that's the case, you got to change the expectation. Kenneth Grant may be the fit here. At his size and his athleticism, because he is more of a 3-tech at that size. Maybe him and Oliver next to each other work as interior pass rushers. Maybe that's how they unlock each other. And I really think that's closer to what the Bills want in a defensive tackle, as opposed to a run stuffing, nose guy. I heard Joe DiBiase talking about some of these run stopping defensive tackles, and he said this specifically. He said that's all they give you is run defense.
Tyleek. That's Tyleek to a key.
Yeah. And the thought of that being all he gives you, that's all you need for the rest of your defensive line to play well.
See, and that goes back. I know we're running tight on time, but that goes back to our team speak, our team thought. Multiple versatility. No, all you, like you said, all you need. I don't need you to be able to build me a house and live in it too. One or the other. If you're great at this, I don't need you to do that. And that's the problem with the Bills fans, because the Bills have corrupted minds. Say, you know what? Now we got to be watered down like the NBA. The NBA, when you have a center, when you had a point guard, centers didn't do what point guards did. Your big man didn't bring the ball. Like the point guards never went to the post. If they did, it was like, what do we do? See, now everybody's got to be able to do everything. And now the NFL is going that way as well. Everybody's got to do everything. And that's just false. If you got a grade A runs defender and Tyleek Williams like that, that's what Ed Oliver is for. That's what he's for. You didn't pay Ed Oliver to be a 1-tech. You didn't give him $60 million for that. But still, when Daquan Jones went out, Ed Oliver had to be your 1-tech. That's an egregious misuse of talent.
Yeah.
You got your guy Elianko on the team for 1,000,001 tries, and you never play him. When you play him, finally, what? Wow, he looks like a football player. Take him off the field.
Exactly. That's the frustrating part. Steve says, please, can we not draft that FSU cornerback? He looks like the next scrub. He looks like the next scrub Levi Wallace. Yeah, I said it too. I said he looks like a 6'2" version of
FSU. It really looks like FSU.
Christian Benford. He looks like a 6'2" version of Christian Benford.
I don't even know if I give up that. I mean, okay.
I mean, he might be less than that, but he didn't look like a guy that was good in man coverage. His understanding of zone coverage is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's something that would be enhanced by the defense we play here. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I want to keep trying to go that route and suffer on the man coverage end.
No, I mean, I don't even care about the man coverage component. What I care about is guys that make plays on balls. I want guys that don't have to not pause because you make a play on the ball.
There we go.
But anyway, no, just real fast. I know, Laura. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So responsible.
But what I hate about when you watch Siobhan Rivell play, when you watch Ben Morrison play, when you watch these guys play zone, they're not backpedaling the whole time.
Yeah,
they plant and they go. And Will Johnson interception, pick 6.
Yep,
that's what you want out of your zone cornerback. Because guess what? Zone ain't got to be boring. Our zone is boring. You can blitz out of the zone. You can be aggressive in the zone. You can press in the zone. You can bring men up in the zone. You can confuse guys in the zone. But guess what? Everything we do is back them off. And everybody said we're aggressive now because Frazier's going, where?
Yeah.
I didn't see no difference. I just saw a front four that's trying to do the best they can to get where they're supposed to go. The same as we saw with Frazier. The same we saw with McDermott. The same as we saw now with Babbage. And you're going to tell me, no, it's no different.
You know what's not boring, though?
What?
An ice cold glass bottle of some Reed's
tea. Oh man, that's definitely not boring. Let me tell you about Reed's tea. Let me tell you about the goodness of Reed's tea, if I may, just for a moment. Reed's tea, it is 1 part refreshing, 1 part delicious, 2 parts healthy. That's what you can expect when there are only 4 ingredients. Yes, 4. No more, not 3, not 5. 4. I don't even drink tea, but guess what? That's a good drink right there. What you doing? Head over to Reed's, get yourself a supply by the case or the individual. Don't get the individual. Don't do that. Go ahead and get yourself some of this right here. My arms are long. I can't do it. Down there somewhere. Get yourself a case. You won't be disappointed, but what do I know? See for yourself. Reed's Tea. Click the link in the description and use the code PPP. Let them know who sent you.
All right. It is that time. We got to jump out the window. Look, to everybody watching, thank you so much. Thank you to what's her name? 420 lady.
420 lady?
Yeah, 420 lady.
And I think there was a Justin there. I never saw Justin here.
Welcome, Justin, Oiler Titan, welcome.
Yep.
I think I welcomed somebody else earlier too. If I have not called your name out, welcome back, Jessica. What's going on? Listen, thank you everybody that's been sharing this time with us and hearing us out and putting up with us. We are here Mondays and Fridays, usually 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We've been kind of changing around the times a little bit to make sure that it works with the work schedule.
Speaking of which, Monday will be at 7. Monday at 7.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, perfect. I don't even got to ask now. Monday at 7, we will be back with you guys. Everything you need to know to get in contact with us is in the description of this video. If you're looking for Reed's Tea, if you're looking for High Mike High Tech, the guy that does all of my computer repair, computer builds, he's fixed PlayStation controllers, anything tech-wise that you might need in terms of tech service, highmikehighTech.com. That link is also in the description of this video. Make sure you check out our merch. We got some good stuff there. If you have any ideas for anything else that you want to see at the merch store, make sure you let us know, and we can definitely put that up there for you. With that being said, this has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the All Truth, No Sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
This is 40 Keys,
the AO producer. Listen, y'all have a great night. How does Josh say it? Be good, do good, go Bills.
Go Bills.
All right, y'all have a great night.
Smash those likes.